KILR Killer Game.
Hello, gamers, simmers, and pilots. I am the Killer Gamer, and welcome back to the tour around the world featuring Microsoft Flight Simulator 2. This is for the Tandy 1000, or this is the Tandy 1000 version, or specifically it can be used with the Tandy 1000, 1200, HD, and 2000, which is this right here. So you can see that there. I don't have an actual Tandy, but I wouldn't mind getting one. I'd be able to play that and maybe some other flight sim stuff and be able to do it in color without, any keyboard issues or anything like that. But anyway, let's go ahead and talk about where it is that we're going to be flying. Okay, so here is the map, and we are right here at General Mitchell Field. That's in Milwaukee, and we're going to be flying pretty much south and going right here to Pal-waukee, which is not called Pal-waukee anymore. I forget what it's called. It's like the crossroads of a... There's like two roads that are right next to Pal-waukee, so it's called something else now. But yeah, we're gonna take that way there, and I would say that we should tune in to Northbrook right here, which is 113.00. All we got to do is just fly directly there, and we should be able to find a runway of some sort to land at Pal-waukee. I think there's like 4 of them. 5 of them, something like that. So what I went ahead and did is I got this switched over to the color version because the flight's not going to be really all that long. So it's kind of nice to have a little bit of color. Now we don't have all those grays and stuff. It'll still be a little challenge to, hold the gamepad that I've got and hold that throttle. So that's okay. Maybe I'll get used to it. All right, so let's tune in to Northbrook, which is 113. Oh, it might help if I... There we go. So as you can see there, it's only 42 miles away. Then we'll set the OBS number 1. It's roughly south. Oops. And right there, at a heading of 182. So we'll go ahead and start the engines. And I'm not hearing anything. There it goes. Not that that's the most pleasing sound in the world, but it's something, at least, as opposed to nothing. Alright, let's go ahead and start moving here. I am not sure where the runways are at. If you remember, we cannot use the map. We'll be stuck in that mode. We got this weird green stuff over here. I think this blue here is the runway. or a runway. We're pretty much going to be going in an opposite direction, I think. That's okay. That is quite alright. Come on. Are we on the runway? I can't tell. Man, these graphics are scary. It's almost as if we're not even getting anywhere. Oh, wait a minute. Maybe we'll just drive where we want to go. Come on. Anybody have a Tandy they want to loan? Holy heck. I'm almost beginning to think maybe we should just... we landed. I'm almost thinking we should just take off, because this is just a complete mess here. Let's go ahead and do that. Let's go ahead and just take off. Take off, eh? Well, I think we are off the ground here. We can't look out the window. We can't use the map. Otherwise... Whoops. Otherwise it's going to freeze on us. Maybe that blue was the city. That obviously does not look like a runway. It's too big. It's too big to be a runway. That's no runway, that's a space station. Don't really have a working rudder. Flaps, okay, flaps are okay. Trying to get a little bit more airspeed. Now we've talked about it before, of how the airspeed indicator is missing the 0. So it's 40, 60, 80, 100, but here it shows 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. We are on our way, though. That line there is one of the Chicago interstates. And we pretty much got 35 miles to go. Shouldn't be too long, actually. Oops. Adjusting my trim here. So yeah, I've got to hold my stick like this because it's the only way that I can get the throttle to work. With this particular keyboard, which is the Tandy 1000. Well, emulated keyboard, because the throttle controls don't actually work. Keyboard controls, that is. And it's the only one that gives you the options to select the color mode like this. So I was doing some X-plane flying today, and I was testing out my X-Enviro, weather program. It does more than just weather and clouds. I mean, it also does like environmental shading, and it puts rain effects on the windshield. So it's not bad, but it hits the frame rates incredibly hard. And when you've got an i5 machine that you're working off of with a GTX 760, it's kind of tough. Oh, hey, DABspotting. Am I a top or a bottom? Not quite sure what you mean by that. As far as where we're flying, the graphics are kind of all over the place because this emulator for the Tandy using 86 box doesn't quite get the graphics right. Oh, Artificial Horizon. Well, no, I mean, it's level flight. I don't know if that answers your question or not. It's hard to tell. It's nighttime. This wicked looking thing over here is like a city or something. The graphics would not normally do this. But unfortunately, with the Tandy 1000 emulation, this is kind of the best that we got. Unless I was able to get a real Tandy machine. But then I'd have to find a way to hook that up, hook the video up to the regular computer to record the video. And unfortunately, in this area that we're flying, Although I can get a color version of the PC version of Flight Simulator 2 to work. Unfortunately, the scenery discs have missing tracks on them, and so there's chunks of scenery that are missing. And this just happens to be one area where the scenery is missing. So that's why we're kind of flying on a Tandy for right now. Am I on VATSIM? Well, yeah, of course I'm on VATSIM. I'm flying VATSIM right now. No, I'm kidding. 907 Pilot, he says he has epilepsy. Well, yeah, you know, after doing a lot of flights with this, I won't lie, it hurts the eyes. It really wears my eyes out. But I've been doing these retro flights for about 1.5 years now. Not necessarily on, you know, streaming over on YouTube. I've been doing it for that long. Yeah, well, don't stare at the 907. Don't stare at the windshield. Look at the dash. The dash is not so bad. Unless it's the colors. The colors are kind of bright. Yeah, getting this version to work is a real challenge. So I have to use teledisc images to get it to work. It only works with 86 box. And then to get the color mode, you have a choice between the Tandy 1000 keyboard and the Tandy 1200 keyboard. The Tandy 1000 keyboard allows me to do this. But the throttle does not work on the keyboard. So I have to use this and hold the stick all the way over, because if I were to let go of the stick, watch the throttle instantly goes down. So I have to hold it the whole way. I can't switch the map view. I can't change windows because then it gets stuck on that and I can't change it. However, if I use the 1200 keyboard emulation, we no longer get color mode. We get that gray and purple look. But all the keys and everything work the way they should. The graphics will still look wonky though. There's going to be stuff popping up on, you know, like this road that is right here. This is like an interstate, and it keeps like popping up and stuff. Yeah, it would still do that even in the other mode. But the good news is we're not far away from the airport. It's only 19.7, well, just a little bit longer than 19 miles. We're heading to Pal-waukee. That is where we're going. The Pal-waukee Airport, which is not called the Pal-waukee Airport anymore. But it's the airport that is just north of Chicago O'Hare. I think it's called, I want to say it's a cross between Illinois and Wisconsin, or I thought it was, no, I can't remember what it was called. Oh, I think it's called the Chicago Executive Airport now. I think that's what it is. So we're heading, we're on a heading of 182, which is going to take us to the Northbrook VOR. Still turning. Stop turning there. So once we get to the VOR, the airport should be over to the left. And trying to line up with a runway is going to be, yeah, rather interesting. Oh, I'm at 4,000 feet. I don't want to be that high. More like 3,000 feet. That is much better. So I was actually, just so you know, I do have other flight simulators, not just this one. I was actually playing X-Plane earlier today. Just offline. Wasn't streaming it or anything. I wanted to do some more tests with my with the X Enviro add-on. Sometimes the FPS is okay with it, and other times it just hits the FPS really hard. I've noticed that it seems to be okay under the clouds, but when you fly over the clouds, then it starts running a bit wonky. But there are some nice environmental effects that also come with that. I was flying out of South Carolina, and apparently there's some thunderstorms or something going on over there. And so X Enviro will actually put rain on the windshield no matter which plane you're flying, which is kind of a nice little touch. I am looking at getting pilot to ATC, as well as, is it the Traffic Global? Is that what it's called, from Just Flight? I've got World Traffic 3, and that thing is such a pain. And sometimes it doesn't work correctly. But I've read some reviews, watched some videos on the Traffic Global, and you don't need to do anything with it. You just install it and everything works. Okay, we're at 3,000 feet. At least we're trying to stay there at 3,000 feet. About 9 miles to go until we get to Northbrook. And Pal-waukee should just be a little bit past that. Yeah, so we're doing a really, really long world tour. Well, somewhat. You can't fly around the world with this, but you can go to Japan and Hawaii and Western Europe, so kind of hard to call it the US tour when you can go overseas. So, semi-world tour. And we started off at Meg's and have had 21 flights before this one. And I've been doing that on all the different simulators. with the exception of a couple like SubLogic ATP. Is there another one? Or is that the only one? That might be the only one. Because I've been doing it on ProPilot and Fly 2 and SubLogic Flight. Now we got a bit of a green patch coming up there, and I think that is the city. I'm not sure. .8 miles to go. And once we get there, if we turn to a heading of 150, we should be able to see the airport. As crazy as the graphics are, well, it's mostly IFR flying anyway. The airport won't look too bad until we've actually landed, and then the graphics are all over. Alright, 2.6 miles, 2.5. Not unless that green flashy thing is the actual airport. It might be. You know, I was speaking of X-Plane earlier. On their site, there's an option to load up or to download earlier versions of X-Plane, but that link doesn't seem to work. It takes you to a page and then it says you're not authorized. So why they have that link in the first place, I don't know. Okay, we have reached Northbrook. Let's go ahead and turn at our heading of 150. And I have a feeling that is the airport, actually. Yeah. That's the airport, alright. It's just for some reason the runways are green. I'm going to be careful here. It looks like I'm shooting. I'm trying to do two things at once here. Okay. Let's see if I can get flaps down. Okay, so I got flaps down. Oh, I forgot I was flying with the landing gear down. That's okay, at least they're down. Okay, so this over here, I believe, is Chicago O'Hare. The altimeter there at Pal-waukee is 777. It's a 777. Whoop. I think I'm just beginning to make out a runway here of some sort. Yeah, you can kind of see the runway. So the runway is green with black center lines. Because you know, that's kind of realistic. It doesn't get any more realistic than that. Who needs Flight Simulator 2020 when you got Flight Simulator 2? It gets scary. Alright. That sound means we landed, even though it looks like really weird. Whoops. So you can see Chicago over there in the downtown Chicago in the background there, with flashy green stuff all over the place. Like I said, it does not normally look like this. Whoops. I'm trying to turn. I'm not trying to the stick. Yeah, so with a little bit of imagination, you can see where the runway is at and where it's not at. Alright, so we are here. Boy, that looks weird. But we are here at the airport. We'll go ahead and shut off the engine. And we will go ahead and close this flight. So, hey, I want to thank everyone who's been watching, whether it's on YouTube or if it was on Twitch. We had just a few people show up. And speaking of which, be sure to head over to Twitch and follow me there, because you will be able to interact with me and chat with me while I'm recording these episodes live. So I would love it if you came over and chatted with me while I do this. And if you're not able to, that's okay. They will be turned into episodes, and you'll be able to see them just like all the other ones. It's just on Twitch you'll be able to see them a lot earlier. But with the mention of YouTube, be sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell so that way you know when new videos are uploaded. And then social media is a thing. And that's about it. Thanks again for watching, and have a killer awesome day.